project for this evening. Sportsman 500, 2006. This is just a friend's. I don't own it. I used to own one. Traded it, sold it to a farmer, and then I got that 570. But we're riding down in Tennessee. After we got done, did not return the same. It's not supposed to do that. And also, you can kind of see that wheel is kind of sitting a little bit of camber there. It's because these bushings, they're no longer bushings. So what we think happened, not 100% sure. If I pull on this wheel, you can't really see it, but when it was up on a trailer, you could really pull on it. You could see all those control arms just wiggling on there. But this was owned by a guy, parked in his garage from brand new, rode it once a weekend in the yard, never used it for anything. So it just sat most of the time. So all those bushings dried out, or just got hard. And then we started riding it hard, and it just ate them up. I mean, they're completely gone. It almost looked like they weren't even there to begin with. But you can see in the light on this one over here, you can see a little bit. I'm sure once I pull these off, you'll be able to see better. But even if you don't drive something, it doesn't mean it stays perfect forever. You still gotta change oil. You still gotta keep up with maintenance. I mean, it's like that Corvette that I own. A guy never touched it. He was proud of it, which is, that's great. Be proud of stuff, but spark plug wires were stuck. Every one of them broke off. Spark plugs were all just old and used. Still gotta keep up with stuff. But I'm just gonna start taking stuff apart on this thing and see how far along I get. Yeah, what I was talking about with how these wiggle. You can see now, it's kind of a little bit positive camber there. If you take this wheel and push it, yeah, there's nothing. It's not the wheel bearing, or at least not yet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a problem. You can see right in there, there's a little bit of a bushing left. So, yeah, there's your problem. Alright, pretty easy to take apart. You got main nut right there, castle nut, so you pull your little pin out, take the nut off. Then this comes loose. That's your hub. Rides in the bearing. Nothing too crazy there. That's the castle nut I was talking about. And then you got nut, bolt, and there's supposed to be a bushing in there. So you got your bolt, you got this spacer, whatever you want to call it, nut. There's supposed to be a bushing that rides on top of this, so that when the suspension moves, it's not just middle on middle. That's all that came out. It's supposed to be a lot more than that. It's supposed to be not dried up, tore up. Yeah. This bottom piece right here, actually it was stuck to this washer. Yeah, on this one. That's all that was on that one. So that's pretty cool. And then there's your bushing. And that one, I'm surprised there's that much left, but yeah, it's not supposed to be, you're not supposed to be able to just pick pieces off. That's it's not a functional bushing. Oh, these guys, this is what rides in there. Like that. sorry, I'm bad at pointing cameras. But yeah, that rides in there. Bolt goes through each side. Put that down there. Wheel bearing, hub assembly, that goes right there. Wheel bearing feels good. That's where those bolts attach in. So there's no nuts on these bottom 2 bolts. Also, for the record, no one ever buys an adapter to use on a ratchet. It's almost always going to be used on impact because we're idiots. Check your safety squints. So, yeah, there's that. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get the sway bar off and get those 2 off and pull this down. And then I got to get this lower control arm off. So, shock, mounts, and then the 2 bolts up there. So, honestly, not too bad. I could finish this tonight if I wanted to, but I probably won't. I don't know. We'll see. Status report. We got everything off. So we got all the hub, upper control arm, lower control arm, sway bars disconnected, shocks disconnected. Damage report. What's left of this is the lower control arm. What's left of the lower bushing is right there. Not the blue stuff, but yeah. That's it. Not really much bushing left. See, I had to scrape that out of there. That one was actually greased at some point, but who knows how long ago. This one, we saw that one. This one just wasn't in there. Same with this one. There was only little shreds of it left. That's the upper control arm. The hub didn't have any bushings. That part goes right in there. I don't remember seeing one, maybe a little bit come out of that. And in case I haven't stressed enough why I'm doing this job, that's not steering, that's steering. This front to back, yeah, no, not good. Not good. Little progress update. We got this guy off. So, that's just, see, the axle kind of slides onto that thing, then it rides on the bearing in there, that wheel bearing. So just once the caliper's off, it just slides off. And then that lets your CV axle loose. The caliper was right here on the back side, just 2 bolts. I put them back in just so I don't forget where they go. This guy, little bracket, that just holds the brake line from getting into anything. Bolts to right here. So I pulled the bolt off, but the nut went flying because it had pressure from that guy hanging off of it. Didn't think about it, pulled the nut off, and I heard it fly off under here somewhere, but I don't know where. I don't see it. And it's gonna be somewhere obvious that I will find it, but it's still annoying because I feel like I spend more time. Oh, I just found it right there. Now there's a washer somewhere. I might just have to go grab a different one. But I spend more time doing that kind of stuff where I hear something drop or leave a tool laying somewhere. I spend more time looking for it than I do actually working on anything. Because this job, like I said, it's not hard. It's just a lot of things take apart. But it takes me so long because I drop one nut. And I know if I say, oh, I'll find it later, I'll either forget or it's completely gone because, you know, I say, oh, I can do this in a couple hours. And then a week later, I'm still working on it. So, oh well, it comes with this hobby, I guess, job, whatever you want to call it. But, oh well, we push forward anyway, so. Alright, status update 3. Steering's off. CV axle stay. I'm not even going to take the top off because I can just swing this around with the ball joint. So, that's the A-arm. Came out of that little pocket right there. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of bushing left. So, yeah, it was greased, but I think I said it in the last series of recordings I did, but it looked like they had greased them. They all have these little grease points. But this thing sat a lot, and when he did ride it, it was just around his flat yard and down the road in the neighborhood, so I don't think they got worked. And they dried out because I'm sure he kept it very clean and waxed it, washed it, soaped it, everything. So whatever he used might have dried these out over the years. And then when we took it after my friend bought it, and we took it to Tennessee and ran it through the trails and jumped it, rock crawling and all that stuff, it just destroyed them because they're old and dried out and they got happy in one spot. So, but it's all right. We're gonna replace. It's an old bike. I mean, it's a 2005, I think, so it would have needed them anyway. The other one I forgot about is this one. Goes forward and back, left and right, so I've got that one too. It's just a 2-piece up in there. It shouldn't be too difficult, but I don't know yet, so we'll look at that one next. So dug everything out of that. That's the rod that goes through it, bolts on either end. The bushings should be around that. That's all that came out. That's the only thing that sort of looks like a bushing. But the rest was just old, nasty dirt. I mean, mostly dirt mixed with some very old grease, but this is the new rod. So that rides in there. This is what should have been in there. It should stick out a little bit, and it fits perfectly up in there to where it doesn't rock back and forth like it was. And there should be grease all over this, and then grease in there, and that pushes out at the ends, keeps everything lubed and happy. So yeah, just get ready to grease everything and put it all back together. Alright, after a few minutes, actually, a couple curse words, new bushings are in, bolts are back in, painted up this CV axle, so this thing slid off really easy, but I don't know when the next time we'll ever have it off again, so it's good to help the next guy out. And chances are, next person I'll be in here is probably going to be me. So try to help myself out as much as I can, because I need all the help I can get. So, but get this back on, that put back on, get the brake caliper back on, get the wheel on, and then we're going to tackle that, hopefully. So got that done. Back to the owner. She's real happy with it. It's only been since May sitting in my driveway, so, you know, when you're not doing it all day, every day, it took maybe 2 weeks from starting it to finish. But I work in between and other things, other projects. Everything is a project right now. Corvette, Ended up pulling the clutch out of it, putting a new LS7 clutch kit in it. Checked the torque tube. Torque tube seems fine. Bushings were perfect in it. Still soft and they're not, didn't harden up, didn't crack. So I'm happy with that. The old clutch was done. Got every mile out of that thing I could. Um, Other news in October, I'm going to be racing down in Florida for the Ultima 600. Bought tickets as soon as that got announced and bought a car shortly after, maybe a week or two after I found a very good car for it. The only downside, it is an auto. It's a CVT, so that's gonna be the weakest link. Everything else on it already has a cage in it, runs great. I still need to empty the gas tank out, put fresh gas in it. It was sitting for a couple years. Um, Tahoe needs some work. Dirt bike needs some work. DRZ needs a rebuild pretty bad. It's burning some oil. But that's it comes with what I do. The Isuzu, that little pickup truck I got, that thing's broke right now. I need to top it off with coolant, put a hose clamp on upper radiator hose, and one of the brake calipers seized up on it, so you can't really drive it without heating it up. But that's also an old truck. Other than that, nothing crazy. I'll make videos on the Ultima. I want to make a lot of videos on that. I want to try to get back into this and keep it going. Yeah, that's it. We'll see you around.